Hey, Bulls and Bears. It is Friday, September 17th, 2021. Credit card debt is really jumping up higher once again. And isn't it amazing when stimulus checks haven't been sent out in a while, when some of the rescue programs, the moratoriums, finally start coming to an end in some locations, when loans have to start being paid back again after having loan payments frozen for whatever period of time that a lot of people had them frozen. But isn't it interesting now that we're still seeing the sickness and a lot of the schools are still being affected? Employers are doing different things because of it, but yet these rescue programs are ending. Many of them, not all of them. So let's start right here. Let's show you what's been happening with student loan debt. Even during this time with so many shutdowns and job losses because of the sickness, student loans $40 million of wages garnished from borrowers despite the pandemic pause. So it's not just that they took the money out of the checking account, it came right out of their paycheck. This was garnished, right? It's bad enough that you can get money swiped right out of your checking account and not even know it. Now, some people may say that's what they get. They should have thought twice about taking out debt or getting into debt to go to college, to go to school. And that's a valid point, but many other people would say, well, we're spending trillions of dollars. We're sending trillions of dollars all over the globe. We're leaving tens of billions of dollars worth of equipment over in other countries, helicopters, a lot of firepower, and more. Why are we garnishing the wages of any students? Right. So I try to look at both sides of the argument. I think most of you do also. But I think at least some people should start asking some of these questions and try to figure out what's going on. What's going on? If they can print endless amounts of money out of thin air, why do we have stories like this? And I'm not saying that's the solution. Just printing money and paying off everybody's loans is not the solution because that doesn't fix the underlying problem. The underlying problem is we're not producing anything. People are not producers, we're consumers. So we're going to see never ending inflation, never ending rising prices. And we're seeing it on a bigger scale now, on a faster scale. Prices are starting to rise more quickly. And if you've ever looked at a chart, this is typically what happens at the end of whatever it happens to be. At the end of the financial system could be if we see parabolic rising prices and there's no way wages are going to keep up with these rising prices, if there's no way that people on fixed incomes or worse yet, no income can get by with these rising prices, what's going to happen? Right? I've said this before, markets can go up to infinity, but when you don't have any food in your refrigerator or in your cupboards, and now your mortgage is due, your rent's due, um, it's a pretty big mess. Now, speaking of the stock market, let's take a look at a recent article. This is out of CNBC. So a lot of the bigger companies are propping up these indexes like the Dow Jones, even the S&P 500. And when you look at an average of these indexes, it doesn't mean that all the stocks are performing well. So look at this. Many shares are down, with pockets of shares of down 20% or more, including some big companies, but a lot of smaller and mid-cap companies as well. Take a look at some of these that are off of their 52-week highs, and some of them are off quite a lot. American Airlines off 26%, FedEx down 20%, DuPont 20%. Let's look at retailers. This one's really bad. Nordstrom's 41%, Gap 36%, Abercrombie& Fitch 24%, Kohl's 19%, Ross Stores down 16%. Look at home builders, 26%, KB Homes 21%, DR Horton 17%. Let's go back to retailers here. Anyone that's heavily invested into retail, knowing that Amazon's out there and that e-commerce is out there eating up big chunks of market share. I'm not sure what you're thinking on that, but down 41%. Could you imagine being in a stock being down 41%? And they're calling this the club, and right now it's about 15% of the S&P 500 stocks are down more than 20%. But you see, what they can do is the bigger companies, they can make those go up 50, 60, 70%, and that will raise the average for the entire index. So when you look at an average or an index, it doesn't really show you how many other people could be getting hurt that are in a lot of these other stocks that are not doing very well at all. Let's transition here a little bit. Another recent article: retail sales post surprise gain as consumers show strength despite the fears of the sickness. Well, we've pointed this out here. Credit card debt is on the rise once again. So is it a surprise that retail sales increase when credit card debt is increasing? It shouldn't be too hard to connect the dots in this case. Home prices rising at the same time as mortgage debt continues to increase further into all-time high territory. Again, connect the dots. Shouldn't be too hard to figure out. And now banks can loan out endless amounts of money, literally no reserve requirement. Mortgage companies can make loans to infinity because they're guaranteed to be paid back or get funding or get their securities purchased by the money printers. What do? They just bundle up the loans and securitize them and sell them off, mortgage-backed securities. So let's put this all together. What do you think is going to happen? Please comment down below. Rising credit card debt, a lot of these rescue programs coming to an end. Prices continue to rise, and the price increases seem to be accelerating, not decelerating. Right, it's bad enough that they're not dropping, but the rate of increase of prices for most goods and products is increasing even faster. All right, let's wrap it up right here. Let's talk about the housing market and what's happening over in China. Wall Street Journal, recent article: pop goes the Chinese property bubble. A huge developer over in China, I'm sure most of you have heard about it, is on the brink of default. Now, will they just print money out of thin air and rescue it? Maybe. They certainly can do that if they choose. It's possible. See, when you can print endless amounts of money, there doesn't have to be any failure of any company. And we've seen tons of bailouts here in different industries in the United States, so that should be no secret by now. But a lot of investors lost a lot of money with this situation. So if this developer is allowed to collapse, it could affect the overall housing market. And this is one of the biggest companies in the world as far as real estate, and they own a lot of multifamily structures. And the company's so big, they could bring down the entire financial system, some people are saying. Quote, Evergrande's collapse would be the biggest test that China's financial system has faced in years. So they're not sure if this huge developer is going to survive, and it may have an impact on the broader financial system. How many companies here in the US also have staggering amounts of debt? And a big chunk of US companies, about 20% the last time I read, are considered zombie companies that are not even making enough profit to continue to make payments on their debt. That means they have to continue to get further into debt. Sounds familiar, right? US businesses, the US government's in debt, the US people going further in debt for the most part. If you have no debt right now, and if you have things paid off, you're in the minority. So you're very lucky. Maybe you bought a long time ago when things were a lot cheaper, or maybe you're very smart. Maybe you planned accordingly. But either way, if you're out of debt and you have things paid off and things that are in your name that you own, you're in the minority. And good job and congratulations to you. But for most people in the United States, that is definitely not true. Even if you're out of debt now and doing pretty well, what's it going to be like in 3 months from now, 6 months from now, 2 years from now, when food, everything, fuel, energy, utilities, the cost of everything just continuing to skyrocket? Will you be able to keep up with this situation and these rising prices? Hope to see you down in the comments, everybody. Thanks for watching. Stay well, stay safe, keep stacking, stay prepared. Bye for now. Peace.